And the winner of the Sustainable Development category is the Vodacom Altech Altron Centre. Today it's called the Shadukane Centre. An original building here started off life way back in 1928, the home of state-of-the-art operating and X-ray buildings then. Designed by the well-known architect Gordon Leith, it displayed all the brick and window facade details of its surrounding buildings, once described as arguably the best collection of conservation-worthy buildings in Joburg.
The idea that the designers put across to us was that they wanted the new bits to stand out. So you have this idea that you got this old building that has to be carved open, sliced, things inserted, and the need for all added bits to actually stand out.
Turn the clock forward to an abandoned building where nature and man have done their worst, and the result is this needs a complete internal overhaul and refit. Turn that clock forward again. Organise collaboration between the Department of Health and the Wits University Reproductive Health and HIV Institute. Define the requirements for a maternity hospital cum research centre, making use of this abandoned building. Find a generous sponsorship from Vodacom and Altech Altron.
I think the Hillibrow Clinic, from 2 points of view, is a very important entry into Steel Awards, also in terms of sustainable development. Since firstly they used a historical building, took it and were very careful not to damage it and actually made it more beautiful. And the other fact is that inside the building they actually care for HIV positive mothers and children.
Put to work a strong professional and contracting team, define some rules about retaining as much of the old structure, but particularly the facade, as possible. Make sure the additional floor space and roof introduced above the old roof slab are light in construction, easy to erect, clearly differentiated from the old, and all based on the good conservation principle of being easily removable in the future.
The lease of life that has been added to it is of such a nature that it's poetic. You know, it's got fun things. You got screens that have been done on the walls that you keep wondering what this is, on the windows. When you're looking up from below, you wonder why the floor plate was that way. But when you go into the building, the room spaces, the proportions and everything is just worked out well. But in steel terms, is how things have been resolved. This interesting little details, not quite modernistic per se, but tasteful, almost in keeping with the design.
After a short gestation period, build using steel, and hey presto, we have the new Shadukane Centre. Light and user-friendly, a green extension. There's 100mm thick recycled polythene insulation in the roof, lightweight sunscreens, and the cantilevered portion of the new floor acts as a sunscreen to the older lower floors facing north. In line with latest medical theories about not spreading TB through air conditioning systems, the whole complex now relies on as much natural ventilation as possible.
When we get to these heritage sites, steel is almost always the material of choice to use these buildings without destroying them.
To minimize damage to the walls and floors and the existing floor levels, all new services are exposed. They're supported on galvanized steel racks and trays. All the new internal structural steel introduced to permit modification from operating theatres to maternity wards is exposed and hot-dipped galvanized. The enthusiasm of the members of the professional team who showed us around was obvious and infectious. Clearly this was a project executed with passion and love. A truly deserving winner of our Sustainable Development category.